by our faith. Back one more time. We walk by what?
Whom we serve exists, then he is able to deliver us from the blazing fiery furnace and from your hand, O king. But even if he doesn't. Even if he does not.
Now listen to this.
Let it be known to you.
Let it be known to you what?
That we will not serve your God.
We will not serve your gods.
Or worship the golden statue you have set up.
Or worship the golden statue. My faith moves me to what? Be bold. Be bold. Bold enough that I'm going to let them throw me into a fiery furnace. Church, when you're faithful, that's boldness. When you're worldly, that's stupidity. We got to decide which one it is for us. Boldness. Church, there's a world out there, am I right?
Yeah.
It's us against them. Us against them. And someone told me one time, someone said, well, you know, Brother High, we have to live in the world. Do we have to live in the world? Yeah. We have to live in the world. So ding, 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 we won. We have to live. You know what? The problem is not do we live in the world. The problem is, do the world live in us?
There you go.
My faith, church, our faith moves us to be bold. Now, is this always easy? No. Why not? Sometimes there's a lot of times there's a fire. A lot of times there's a fire. Why not?
Maybe that we don't recognize we win either way.
We don't recognize we win either way. And here's, listen, I want you to think about this statement though. Think about this. Even if he doesn't, our God can deliver us from this fire, and even if he doesn't. Now, the world hears defeat there. There's no defeat there. Because even if he doesn't, we still win.
That's right.
We still win. And we all, because in this, we all know the rest of the story. They won. They won. Church, sometimes it's not our responsibility to try to take vengeance on this world.
No.
God's going to do that.
That's right.
You remember those people who tried to get them in trouble? What happened to them? Huh? Oh, yeah. God's going to take care of it.
He'll take care of it.
You know what? God's going to take care. All I got to do is have faith that he's going to be and do what he says he's going to do.
Yeah.
Even the people that threw them in died.
Even the people that threw them in. You know why? Because we win. But church, it's not always easy to be bold. But my faith moves me to be bold. Just write down these texts real quick, and just for later study if you want to look at them. And that's Isaiah chapter 41 verse 10 if you want to write that down, and also Hebrews chapter 13 verse 5. Most of us know especially the Hebrew text, but Isaiah chapter 41 verse 10, the writer reminds in there, said, don't fear, I'm with you.
That's right.
I'm with you. Hebrews chapter 13, verse 5, God reminds us as his children, I will never, well, he starts off first, don't have love for what? Money. Now, he said love for money. He didn't say don't have money. Okay, I'm a missionary. I like people with money. Okay, like Marshall Keeble said, I'd rather have friends than money, as long as my friends have money, He talks about the love of money, but then he says at the end of that I will never, what? Leave you or forsake you. Church, we're never alone.
That's right.
We're never alone. My faith moves me to be bold. To be bold. What's the next one? Well, this one's the one that everybody's crazy about this one. My faith moves me to suffer. Suffer. How many of you like to suffer?
Like it.
Raise your hand if you like to suffer. There's a straitjacket out there for you. My faith moves me to suffer. And our examples will be the apostles. You want to write that down? The apostles. And we're not going to take the whole time to read it, but I'm just going to kind of tell you about it. And that's over in Acts chapter 5. Acts chapter 5, we got the apostles. They're doing a lot of miracles, and they've been thrown into prison, and while they're thrown into prison, they're miraculously released, and then they come before the council. You remember when I told you about the council yesterday? I'll do the scribes and the people who held authority. Anytime you hear this, you hear what? You hear the Jaws music. Come before the council. They come before the council and we've told you not to do this. Church, the apostles, they were beaten. Paul goes to an account where he talks about he was shipwrecked. They were tortured. These men here, they had been beaten, and then Gamaliel comes along and he speaks and he tells them, said, no, said, if these men are of God, you're not going to be able to do anything with them. But if they're not of God, they're going to do, and he mentioned a couple of other people who had already come along and failed. If they're like them, they're going to fail and they're going to fade away. And then they decided to beat them a little bit, and then they let them go. Let them go. Now here's what I want us to read, though. I want us to read Acts chapter 5, verses 40 through 42. Because my faith moves me to what, church? To what? To suffer. My faith moves me to suffer. Acts chapter 5. Somebody read verses 40 through 42. Catch that? They left rejoicing. And they left rejoicing because they had been let go, right? Why'd they leave rejoicing? Counted worthy to what? To suffer. Now, I'm going to tell you the truth. That's not an easy one. I'd rather things be smooth and good. I would. I'm going to be honest with you. But my faith moves me to what? Suffer. Church, there's nobody that suffered like Jesus suffered.
That's right.
Nobody. And Jesus suffered they had no cause. Had no cause. My faith moves me to suffer. Now let me ask you a question. What's the question? Is it always easy? Why not? Don't like to hurt? Why not? What's that? It's not fair. Because my faith moves me to suffer, and I suffer because I'm a what? Christian. And we just say, it's not fair. Is that always easy? Why not? It's humiliating. Goes against the grain. It's just, we just don't like it. Paul is the one, and when we think of what the Apostle Paul, remember what Paul said? Paul said, I want to know Christ and the power of his rising or resurrection. Share in his suffering. Conform to his death. I'm here to tell you this morning. I'm here to give you some good news. Some real good news. Are you ready for this? You're going to suffer. We're living in the devil's domain. He's the king of this world. We're completely opposite of him. He's the father of what? Lies. And we're going to suffer. But my what? Faith moves me to suffer. Now let me write down these texts here, though. Keep this in mind. Let's keep this balance. Write down 1 Peter chapter 3, verse 17, and then write down 1 Peter chapter 2, verses 20 through 25, and read this when you get a chance. But just to keep a balance here, my faith causes me to suffer, but don't be suffering for the wrong reason. Okay? Be suffering for doing right. not because we're doing something that's not right. You're going to, I'm going to, we're going to, together, we're going to suffer. Okay, let's move on because my time is moving on. Okay, so let's get some of these up. Okay, my faith moves me. Here's one: to be willing to give some things up. To be willing to give some things up. My faith moves me to be willing to give some things up. And the perfect example, an excellent example of this is Moses. Yeah. Moses. And yesterday we mentioned Moses' parents, his mother putting him in a basket, being willing to go against laws that's contrary to God's word. But this morning, Moses, to give something up. And our text for that would be Hebrews chapter 11, verses 23 and following. Most of us know, we know Moses' story. Raised in a palace. Raised in a palace. And then he gets into some trouble. Hebrews chapter 11. Somebody read verse 23 and following. Let's listen a little bit about Moses. Hebrews chapter 11, verse 23 and following.
By faith, Moses, when he was born, was hidden for 3 months by his parents, because they saw the child was beautiful, and they were not afraid of the king's edict. By faith, Moses, when he was grown up, refused to be called the son of Pharaoh's daughter, choosing rather to be mistreated with the people of God than to enjoy the fleeting pleasures of sin. He considered the reproach of Christ greater wealth than the treasures of Egypt, for he was looking to the reward. By faith he left Egypt, not being afraid of the anger of the king. He endured as seeing him who is invisible. By faith he kept the Passover and sprinkled the blood, so that the destroyer of the firstborn might not touch them.
In a palace. In a palace. And gave up the palace for a promise. Gave up the palace for not something that he would see, but a promise. A promise of a coming Messiah. Would he see that Messiah? No. But he gave it up. Gave up a palace for a promise. But church, the promise was from who? God. And I've said it before, and I'm going to keep saying it again and again and again, just so that to encourage me and to encourage you. Remember, it's not about believing in God, okay? It's about believing God.
Right.
Willing to give up something, some things. That's what my faith moves me to do. Moses gave up a lot to be with the people of God, to lead the people of God, to work with the people of God for a promise that's coming. Okay, church, my faith moves me to what?
Be bold.
No. That was last week.
I thought we were reviewing.
No. I understand. That's fine. You're okay. Don't. I feel his heartbeat. My faith moves me to what? To be willing to give up something or something or some things. Okay, now here's a question. Is that always easy?
No.
Why not? What's that? We like our stuff. We like our stuff. Church, sometimes our stuff is what gets in the way of our faith. My faith moves me to give up something or some things. Not always easy. Why not? On this side over here. Why not?
We don't just like it, sometimes we think we need it.
What's that?
Sometimes we think we need it.
Most of the times, we think we need it. And the more we get, the more we need. You know, a billionaire, not a whole, well, from what I understand, there's more of those than there used to be, but a billionaire, he doesn't want to spend $1. Why? Because he won't be a billionaire no more. If he spends $1, he wants to gain 10, so he'll still be a billionaire. It's not easy to give up stuff. But sometimes that stuff just gets... We live in a blessed nation, do we not? Do we not? We do live in a blessed nation, but we spend more time complaining than we do anything else. I mean, everything's just too high. While we're at the gas station gassing up our Hummer, our Escalade, our Ford Explorer, and the whole time we're gassing up, we're complaining about the price of the gas. Get a Volkswagen. We don't need to let our stuff hinder our faith. Remember, if you want to write this text down, write down Luke chapter 9. Luke chapter 9. Somebody read that real quickly for us. Luke chapter 9, verses 24 and 25. What does the text say? Luke chapter 9, verses 24 and 25. Luke chapter 9, verses 24 and 25. What's the text say?
For whoever desires to save his life will lose it, but whoever loses his life for my sake will save it. For what advantage is it to man if he gains the whole world and is himself destroyed or lost?
My faith moves me to be willing to give up something or some things. Matthew chapter 6, if you want to write that down, verses 19 and following, the text warns us there, said, don't lay up treasures where? Don't lay up treasures here on where? On earth. Thieves can break in and do what? Steal. Moths can do what? You know, a lot of you, I've watched some of you this morning when you got out of your cars out there in the parking lot. You had this little bitty thing, this little key thing, and you push that little button, and you try to pretend you're not paying attention to it. You know, you push the little button, and when you push that little button, you hear this thing. It goes ark ark, and you just keep on walking like this. But then if you push that little button and you don't hear that ark ark, here's what you do. And finally you hear that little ark ark, and then you feel all good. You know, if you're Walmart, you hear that little ark ark, you feel all good, and you go in Walmart, buy your stuff, and you come out and your car's gone. Car's gone. My faith moves me to realize sometimes I need to just be willing to give up something or some things. for the promise of better things. We still got time? Okay, I only got 62 more, and I just have to try to pick the ones that, okay, here's one. My faith, now this one takes a little bit different track, okay? Okay, we're going to take just a little bit of a sideline here. But my faith, now listen to this, moves. Now what's the word we've used after this the whole time? Me. Okay, my faith moves me. Okay, no. This, if you've already written it down, scratch out me. Okay, we don't have me here on this one. Okay. My faith moves others to faith. My faith moves others to faith. Now, who's our example here? Our example here is, in fact, we have to have more than one example here. Okay, the first one is Daniel. And we're not going to turn there. I'm just going to tell you real quickly. I'm just going to tell you, and then you go back and read it whenever you get a chance. Daniel chapter 6. We got Daniel. The king says they've made an edict, and nobody's to bow down, pray to anybody else but the king. What did Daniel do? Prayed anyway. The king comes along, and because he's made this dumb law, Daniel doesn't do it. And the king knows what type of man Daniel is. Let me ask you a question. The people you work with, do they know what type of person you are? Do they know what type of person you are? If they show up, if they accidentally had a flat tire in front of your church building on Sunday morning at 9 o'clock and needed some help, and they walked into your church building looking for help and saw you, would they be surprised? What are you doing here? Well, I'm a member. The king knew who Daniel was. But he had to throw him in the lion's den because he's made an edict. But all night, what did the king know? King knew Daniel had a faith in a God that was going to do what? Save him. The next morning, the king comes down and they look into the lion's den, and what's wrong with Daniel now? Not a thing. Not a thing. The only thing that was mad in the lion's den was the lion. Could you imagine if you were the lion and all you could do was sniff him? I'm sure that lion was wondering, what's happening? I got lockjaws all of a sudden. It's amazing when God works, isn't it? Isn't it? But the character, it's Daniel, but we're talking the King Darius. He said, no, I knew you served a God. But now I know you serve a God. And you know what? Everybody in this nation's going to serve your God. Sometimes, church, my faith moves others to faith. They see my example. They see your example. And they're moved. Another one, I told you we'd have two in this real quickly, and that's, do you remember Paul and Silas in jail?
Yeah.
Remember that? You're in jail and in jail singing. How many of you be singing in jail? I wouldn't be singing in jail. I'd be on, they put me in jail, I'd be on this. Where's my lawyer? Singing in jail. And then all of a sudden an earthquake comes. And what happens? The earthquake comes and the doors are open. And if you want to write this down, this is Acts chapter 16 we're talking about. Acts chapter 16 verses 25 and following. The doors are open. And then all of a sudden, the jailer comes. You remember that guy? The jailer comes. And he realizes the doors are open. What's going to happen to him? I like that brother. I don't like that, but the brother, he didn't say a word. He just said, yeah, that's it. Paul and Silas says to the jailer, do yourself no harm. We're all what? We're all here. Church, their faith in God, the jailer saw that. What did it lead the jailer to do? To become a Christian. I mean, that very night, they were baptized into Christ. Because of the faith he saw in Paul and Silas. I'm not going to ask the question here that this is not always easy to do. I'm going to ask you a question here. Why is this always important to do?
There you go.
Why is it always important to demonstrate your faith? Because somebody's going to be moved by your faith. I see people coming out and, okay, here we go. Okay, if you're writing, you write this down, write this down. My faith moves me to live righteously, okay? My faith moves me to look to heaven, okay? My faith moves me to share my faith. And the list could go on and on and on, but we're going to close with this one today. We're going to close with this one today, and then the lesson's yours. My faith moves me to be like who? Jesus. Moves me to be like Jesus. And what is there? Who's our example? Jesus. And what is there about Jesus that I want to point out to me today and to you today? And that's, yesterday we talked about to love like Jesus, right? We talked, do you remember? Do you remember when you were sitting in the room with Jesus? And Jesus came in and he told you, he said, take your shoes off. Take your shoes off. And then when he told you to take your shoes off, he had this towel and he had this basin of water. And what did he do? How'd you feel? How'd you feel? How'd you feel? Huh? Take your shoes off. How'd you feel? Take your shoes off. And then he knelt down and he washed feet. And when he finished washing my stinking, dirty, smelly, I know I'm only talking to the men here, ladies, I know you. When he washed your cute, polished nails, feet, he looked up at you and he said, I'm doing this so you will go and what? Do it to others. It's not the washing feet, it's the serving. Church, our world is desperate for somebody to serve them the gospel, to bring them to Christ. And the only way we're going to do that, or one of the main ways we're going to do that is by serving. Like Jesus served. My faith moves me to be like who? Okay, everybody look at this way. I know it's over, I know class is over, but I'm not done. This is our class, right? This is our class. Let's end it right. Okay, I don't want us to end it half-heartedly. My faith moves me to be like Jesus and serve like Jesus served. Is that always easy? No, you know why? And I'm not even going to let you answer that. You know why? Because we like to be served. Jesus said, I didn't come to be served. I come to give my life a ransom for what? For many. That's what Jesus said. And my faith moves me. Your faith moves you to want to be like him. To want to be like him. I wish I could say with a good heart that I'm done. But because of time, we're finished. But as you leave this auditorium today, let your faith move you. Move you. You know why? Because you're defined by faith. I love you. Pray for you. Pray for me. God bless you. Tomorrow we'll have another class, and if you want to come, I'd love to have you here, and we're going to talk about the testing of our faith. And just remember this for tomorrow as we start. A faith that can't be tested is a faith that can't be trusted. Okay? God bless you.